mentioned during the COVID lockdown that you had written like a whole album. Is this Damn Love?
I wrote about 5. I really did. I really did.
This is your first album, as you know, since 2020. What song on this really describes the highs and lows of your life in those 3 years?
Oh, wow. Honestly, Guitar Slinger. I mean, that's as honest as I can possibly get in a song. It's 6 minutes. There's 2 or 3 on this record that are 6 minutes that I was heavily pushed to eliminate and shave down. But the records that I loved growing up, it was so much of a musical journey.
Mm-hmm.
I hate how everything is confined now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, the heck with all that. Like we're gonna do this thing the way the song is meant to be done. And Jaron, that's the beauty about it. He's all in. Like let's go there. But I would say that Guitar Slinger is as personal as I can get about the internal turmoil that at least I go through as an artist, and what you deal with mentally, physically, spiritually, all these things. And I've done all the blue collar jobs. For anybody listening, it's like, oh man, you play guitar for a living. There's so much that goes into this, and you're running a full blown circus, and there's so many people dependent upon you to create and to keep the ball moving. You're responsible for so many people, and there's this constant place of not feeling worthy a lot of times, or not feeling good enough. All those kind of things that you got to constantly battle. You have a bad show and you see a bunch of despondent faces and you're feeling like I'm terrible at what I do. Mm-hmm. Where I used to clock in, clock out, and never face that thing of, am I good at what I do? Am I this and that? It was like I did the laying sod for 6 straight summers from 14 to like 20 in the South Georgia heat. And then I did construction. All those things were tiring. I would go home exhausted, but I wasn't beat up inside, and that's the part of this, the grind of the travel. We just did 25 hours, Australia flights, and then back to New Zealand, then back to Africa, and then playing the shows, and then all the, you're never sleeping. That's the part. You feel like you don't sleep for a whole month, and then, you're trying to adjust, and you're doing the shows, and you come back, and, you're right back in this. It never really stops. That's the thing. There's always something going on. So that's why I'll take the 2 months to surf and try to somewhat catch my breath and like get my head right again to go back out.
What's it like working with a friend, like as close to the
friend?
Oh
man, we fight like brothers. And he is a riot though. I love the guy. He's so talented. I'll never tell him this to his face because he's the biggest. Jaron is the biggest fan of Jaron, but I love that about him. I do. I truly love the guy, and it's interesting because he's so curt and edgy when he's hadn't had any cocktails in him, but then he gets a few drinks in him. Like late night, he'll be like on the road. It'll be 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's all chummy. Call me like, man, we're on to something, man. This is good stuff. And then he'll be like, I love you, man. And I'll be like, hey, you've been drinking, hadn't you? I love you too, brother.
Let's talk about another song on the album, One Heartbeat. It's your duet. I believe this is your first duet.
First one.
Okay, why Ashley McBryde? Why now?
I love Ashley McBryde and every aspect of her artistry. I mean, she is. I've loved what she's done for quite a while. Love her like a sister. At the time, I didn't know her that well. And this is a true story. I actually wrote that song by myself in Lahaina, sitting on the break wall. I would work on it every single morning for a whole month that I was there. I'd chip away at it, kept rewriting it, and kind of became my baby while I was there. And I have never written a song in mind with someone else singing with me, ever, my whole career. When I got past the first chorus, I said, this is the perfect song to write for Ashley to sing with me. We barely even knew each other. And I said that to myself, and I wrote that next verse with Ashley in mind. Fast forward a few months later, we're in Alaska, and we're doing this show. Me and her and Kendall Marver just doing these acoustic shows, and we're in the trailer together. It's all kind of playing songs and swapping stories. And she said, Kip, play me something you love that you recently wrote. And so I played the first verse and chorus with One Heartbeat. And she grabbed that headstock of my guitar and was like, I absolutely love this. And can I sing on it with you? So
what? It was like meant to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And she just won a Grammy, and she was just nominated for a bunch of ACMs.
She's so great, man.
Do you get a chance to like reach out to her and talk to her about that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always checking up on her, and she'll check up on me. And I saw her in Australia, and we hugged, and Ashley feels like family for me at this point. Yeah, I'd do anything for Ashley. She is a riot to be around, like just an absolute riot. But she's almost as crazy as I am, I feel like, when I get around her. But yeah, I love her. She's great.
She seems like the kind of friend that would tell you like if you're being like an idiot. Is that true?
100%.
Yeah. Do you
100.
need someone like that, or do you feel?
I mean, I don't know if I need somebody like that. I kind of know when I'm being an idiot, but Ashley's not scared to tell you what she thinks for sure. Yeah, I love that about her.
Kip Moore fans come to Taste of Country to know about your relationship status. We get that all the time.
Yeah, we're never gonna talk about it. Yeah. Man, I don't budge on that kind of stuff, and I feel no pressure to. I don't owe anybody anything to tell them about my personal life. And that's how I've always felt. It's ways of protecting people around me. Because the minute I say it, people will pry like crazy. And it happened to me back in 2012. A picture of being somebody, and all of a sudden, that person's getting harassed like crazy. And that stuff makes me so furious. I don't understand that kind of thought process in grown humans. So I will always keep my relationships as private as I can.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I want to get back to where you're talking about full albums being stories. You're known for like your last song is always something special.
Get ready for this one.
So tell me about, is it Mickey's Bar?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Is that a real guy, a real bar?
It's fragmented truth. It's fragmented truths of things that I've seen.
Okay.
You got to understand, like, take the line, Bobby had a dream playing for the Yankees, but 2 bad knees and he's a junkyard car. That's me. I'm singing about me. It's all just metaphorically, but it's like I feel like I get really dark behind the scenes sometimes, and I that's just something I battle with, and I will spiral a lot of times. And that night, a lot of times, I remember we had got done with the European tour, and I was so exhausted when I got back, and I knew that I only had 24 hours, and I was going right back out, and I was just kind of sitting there, just kind of like, what am I doing, and what am I doing all this for? That kind of thing. It just being like, I have no balance in my life. I'm not watering any other gardens in my life, and I haven't been for years. You start going through all the things of the people that you've neglected, the relationships, family, all those things, they start taking a toll. You start feeling like I was writing that line from a place of I ain't nothing but a number. And the minute that stuff ain't going good, nobody's going to want to interview me. Nobody's going to really care about me. I start spiraling like, no, does anybody really even care about me in this whole thing? The minute I'm not a product that's producing, and that's where my head was. I'm going to be washed up before you know it. And that's kind of that's the headspace I was in when I wrote Mickey's Bar. And that's why I said, the 95 prom queen, but she says, looks will only get you so far. It's like all these people that had it, in that moment, that's where my headspace was. So there's a lot of lines that I love. I remember when I wrote, she's in a new used dress, and you can see that person, this beautiful girl that's hanging around this bar that's just looking for love. And it's like she's in that new used dress. It ain't a brand new dress, but she's trying to look great.
Yeah.
It's something she pulled out of the closet. And, so there's a lot of lines that I really tried to make such a visual picture with. So, but I was singing about things that were specific.
Okay.
And even the woman, the 95, that's a real person. But I would use aliases and stuff. So it's not all direct truth, but it's fragmented truth.